Here's a quick tour of the robot importer as it's currently working. So the user, whether that was somebody who had sort of a beginner level understanding of Unity or someone on our team who's doing the work for them, would first use the Unity exporter that we've developed for Fusion, which spits out the robot 3D models. So that this imported robot you see here is a result of bringing that exported Fusion model into Unity. It's as simple as dragging the files from one folder to another, and then it shows up in Unity. So the real secret happens with the parts that are defined in Fusion. So for instance, the wheels in this case are the only part that I wired up. But you can see that for each wheel, or really any part that moves in some way, the user would just have to put on something called a drive receiver. Drives are just a sort of generic way of talking about transforms. So those can be rotational transforms, translational transforms, I don't know, maybe scale transforms if a robot had something that scaled. So the drive is really what allows the robot to then link into the WebGL program, because the drives are sort of a common element. So for instance, in the user would be presented with these predefined drives for the wheels, and then as many motors as they wanted, or switches if there were switches. They could switch as another type of kind of generic asset. So as long as the users make sure to match up the correct drive, predefined drive, with the part on their robot, it will work as expected when they bring it into the WebGL. So just to sort of show demonstration, so we can just put in values here and execute, and away it goes. And the one tricky part is these mechanism wheels. So we don't model the actual mechanism physics in Unity, because that would be extremely expensive to model and probably would not end up being accurate. So we do an approximation of it. So there's a specialized drive receiver for mechanism wheels. And again, all the user has to do is make sure that they match up the predefined drives into the slots in the drive receiver for the correct part on their robot, which in this case is the whole thing. So you can see I have the whole thing selected, because that's what's going to be influenced by the mechanism action. So this drive receiver, again, would come prepackaged. It's not something they have to code or anything. They just have to make sure they put it on their robot, connect up the bits, and it translates the different transforms of the mechanism wheels into motion based on the assumed physics of those mechanism wheels. So the secret sauce that makes this all work is that the robot prefab, once it's been all wired up with the predefined drives, we make sure that it has this addressable check mark. And once something is addressable, it becomes a cataloged asset and can be brought into any other Unity program, or a built program from Unity, whether that's an application that's built for Windows, something built for an Xbox, or in this case, something built in WebGL. So just to kind of show a demonstration of how that works. So if the robot, I got rid of the robot, and hold on, let me turn on the asset loading button. So in the WebGL, if you wanted to load an asset, you would do it this way. I have it pointing directly to the file because I've already built it and I've already defined where I want it to end up. But basically, all you have to do is build the robot, and it automatically creates this asset catalog. And then if you just import the asset catalog, you will immediately import your robot. And because those drives are standardized between the exporter and the final program, they all link up and behave as you might assume they would. And we can do the mechanism action here to show that off. Whoops. Well, my reset is not working. Oh, I didn't have a reset button tagged to the actual robot. But if we restart it, this is the kind of stuff you can fix in the importing, but I didn't bother to do it. But we just put our imported robot here into the value for robot. Again, to do that via code, I was being lazy. Now put in our special mechanism values. And there it goes. So yeah, so that is a demonstration of how the export-import model works. And I've tested it. It does work with the built ones. And I'd be happy to share those if you want to play around with them. But right now, it doesn't really do much more than what you've seen here. Yeah, so feel free to ask me any questions. And we'll be working on getting a version that sort of is more generic that does more than wheels for the next one.